Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The ceremony is about to begin. We will begin promptly at 2:30. If you can all find your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the request of West Mesa High School administration that we honor and that we recognize each and every graduate. Most of you are here today to celebrate the accomplishments of one or maybe even more graduates that are special to you. Please allow others around you to celebrate their special graduate today, and kindly be reminded to refrain from any excessive cheering and the use of noisemakers so that each graduate's name can be heard clearly. At this time, please turn off your cell phones or silence them. Thank you for attending today for the class of 2022 commencement ceremony for West Mesa High School. This evening, the colors are being presented by West Mesa High School NJROTC under the direction of Senior Chief Nicholson and Major Hendricks. And now, I present to you the class of 2022. Please bring them in to the processional. Welcome, class of 2022. And ladies and gentlemen, at this time, will you all please rise for the presentation of the colors by West Mesa's NJROTC. And graduates, please remove your caps. Will the band play the national anthem? At this time, will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. You may be seated. Graduates, you may don your caps. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Cordova. I'm your activities director here at West Mesa High School. It is my honor to introduce our distinguished guests for this afternoon's commencement ceremony. Joining us this morning is APS board member Crystal Tapia Romero. Our APS leadership representatives, Superintendent Mr. Scott Elder, Associate Superintendent Dr. Antonio Gonzalez. Also with us this morning is West Mesa's principal, Miss Michelle Torres. Assistant Principal, Mr. Robert Earp. Assistant Principal, Mr. Santino Hernandez. And Assistant Principal, Miss Jean Marie Baca. Our readers for this afternoon are Mr. Juan Aragon and Mrs. Rebecca Knowles. Representing the class of 2022, I have your student body vice president, Jidapa Anderson. Also on stage, our salutatorians, Marissa Villa and Lizette Quinones. We also have our valedictorian for the class of 2022, Jacqueline Hernandez. And last but not least, I would like to introduce to the podium a graduate who has distinguished herself by earning the bilingual seal on her diploma. Please help me welcome to the podium, Daisy Astorga.
Can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure. Yeah? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Daisy Astorga. I am here today with a great honor to stand in front of this beautiful crowd in 2022 graduating class. Many of us in the 2022 class obtained the bilingual seal. The bilingual seal goes way back to kindergarten. Yes, since we were very young. As a bilingual student, we managed to collide two worlds in one, the capability to include anyone in a conversation or being more understanding towards a different culture creates the meaning behind the bilingual seal. Cuando era pequeña, mi mamá siempre prendía el radio y escuchaba música en español. Con la música aprendí mi primer lenguaje, que es el español. Cuando comencé a asistir a la escuela primaria fue cuando descubrí y me di cuenta que hay más idiomas. Tuve que aprender inglés, que no fue nada difícil. Al principio me sentía fuera de lugar porque en segundo grado me acusaban por saber hablar español. Y eso me motivó a olvidar del español a pesar de que la gente que conocía también hablaban mi lenguaje materna. But I had an incredible teacher who convinced my mother to take me extra classes so I would never forget my Spanish. To this day, I am very thankful for that incredible woman because I would have not obtained my bilingual seal if it wasn't for her. My 8th grade year, we started to practice on how to put your binders together and how to present. I thought it was going to be easy like 8th grade year, but I was completely wrong. My freshman year, I was pulled out of class and was told to take these classes if I wanted the bilingual seal. As an overachiever, I did what I was told. Years passed and it was finally senior year, which came along too fast in my opinion because half of my sophomore year was pulled away from me. Ingresé al campo de entrenamiento bilingüe pensando que sería fácil, pero vi montones de papeles y rúbricas sobre lo que teníamos que hacer. Quería salir y llorar, aunque la maestra no dijera nada hasta ahora. Sabía que iba a enfatizar lo cual estaba en lo correcto, principalmente porque era inamadora, bailadora de ballet folclórico, tomaba 4 clases de AP y tenía un horario completo porque elegí eso. Ustedes se van a preguntar por qué y yo también me pregunto lo mismo. I told myself I would finish high school with a bang. Trust me, I am. I was even in top 10. That was amazing. The day I started to write speeches, essays, making collages, poems, posters, slides, and much more has improved my writing and speaking for both languages. My Spanish was horrible when I was young, but thanks to all the bilingual classes I have taken in school, my school career, it has helped me a lot, mostly in the bilingual boot camp. What I have learned the most was to appreciate the value of being bilingual. I can collide two worlds in one. While doing community service, I have realized people who are looking for someone who speaks Spanish and they do find someone, the look they give us is full of relief, and that makes me happy. What can I say? Being bilingual is like having a superpower. The bilingual seal was an eye-opener for me and some of my classmates because working hard does pay off. I am not going to lie, I was going to drop the class, but thanks to Marcos Lucero, I did not. Having someone who calls you every night and volunteers to help out or listens to your ranting is a person you need. He has helped me mentally and emotionally. Always be cautious on who you choose to hang out because they will influence your life. Además, tener una familia que te apoye es la mayor motivación que alguien necesita. Mis padres compraron un escritorio, una silla de oficina para hacer mi trabajo en paz. Comodidad fue de gran ayuda. Recibir ayuda de mis mentores, que también su propia vida, pero logran ayudarme, me hizo sentir especial. After all the difficulties, I obtained the biggest achievement that I have thought I would receive. I'm a graduate, going to graduate, that will have the bilingual seal on the diploma and the first in my family to do so. I am glad I never gave up this year. I started with tears, but I ended the year with a bang. Years of hard work, and now I'm walking towards success. Do not let anyone bring you down because of you are different. Show your true colors, outshine your haters, and be proud of your culture. If I had listened to my bullies, I would not be standing here in front of you all saying this speech. Be who you are, class 2022. Thank you. Gracias.
Next up, will you please help me welcome the principal of West Mesa High School, Miss Michelle Torres.
Good afternoon. I'm Michelle Torres, and I have the honor and privilege to serve this senior class, this school, and this great community as principal of West Mesa High School. This morning, I would like to take the time to welcome and thank each of our families, staff, friends, and distinguished guests for joining us today as we recognize the outstanding accomplishments of each member of the class of 2022. Graduates, your high school years have been far from ordinary. You have lived through a pandemic, the loss of time with friends on a school campus, time with your teachers in your classrooms, and many other events that every high school student should experience. But despite all of this, you have persevered. You are graduating. Today is a great day. It's a day to celebrate with your families and friends. This is a day you've been waiting for since you entered kindergarten those 13 long years ago. For some of you, it's about getting out of school and getting on with your life. It's a time when that old childhood rhyme, no more teachers, no more books, no more students, no more teachers' dirty looks, describes just how you feel. For many others of you, high school graduation is just the next step in your education. You're headed on to a university, a community college, apprenticeship training, to the exciting journey of preparing for a career you want to pursue. But for all of you, as you take off the caps and gowns you are wearing today and take your tassels and diplomas home, remember this. The diploma you have received today is your insurance policy with a premium paid in full by the hard work you've put in over those last 13 years. The value of that policy depends on how much effort you put into your education and what you do with it as you go on. As a first-year principal of a high school, I have been part of many wonderful experiences. I spent time in classrooms with you and your teachers as you were learning about math, science, history, sociology, and most importantly, about life. I attended my first homecoming and prom as a principal. I watched as 35 of you earned your bilingual seals. I was there when our cheer team placed as our state runner-up, and I watched our NJROTC drill team take state. These are just a few of the examples of the many great things that happened on our campus. I thank you for your kindness and patience while I learned about our campus, our teachers, our students, and our amazing school community. I will take my lessons learned from you into the rest of my years as West Mesa's principal. As my thank you to you, I would like to impart a little wisdom that I learned from someone who I recently lost, Grandma Lucy. When I was graduating, Grandma Lucy shared with me her 4 rules of living. Rule number 1, cherish your family and friends as if your life depends upon it, because it does. By the time you've reached my age, you've made more friends than you'll have time to keep up with. But cherish the moments that you do have with them, because as we have learned this year, life is too short. And always remember, sometimes mom and dad or grandma and grandpa do know best. Don't be afraid to listen to their advice. Rule number 2, love people more than things. It's easy to get caught up in wanting the best clothes, the best toys, the best car, the best of anything. But nothing beats being kind. Be kind to those you love, and even to those you don't. Being kind costs nothing, but is more valuable than anything you will ever own. Rule number 3, indulge the child in you. Live your life to its fullest. You only get one. Encourage the fun and laughter that lives inside of you. Make time for play, for the impractical, for the absurd, and make a rule to do it, not just every once in a while, but when the opportunity presents itself. Let your heart overrule your head once in a while. Never turn down a new experience. Unless, of course, it's against the law. We'll get someone hurt or we'll get you into some serious trouble. And rule number 4, don't spend a lot of time worrying about your failures. I've learned a whole lot more from my failures and mistakes than I have from any of my successes. Mistakes are great teachers, but in order to learn from them, you must be willing to take ownership of them. When something goes wrong, it's usually very easy to find someone else to blame. But what does that really accomplish? The last thing you want to do is run from mistakes. There is much value to be had when you claim it, pay the price, learn the lesson, and grow. That will make you much, much stronger. I'll never forget Grandma Lucy's words. Make sure you give each other a big hug before today is over. Tell your parents thanks and that you love them. Take plenty of pictures. Aim high, good luck, and remember, if you can be anything, be kind.
I am honored today to also introduce our salutatorians for the class of 2022. First up to the podium will be Marissa Villa, followed by Lizette Quinones.
Good afternoon, class of 22. Thank you to West Mesa staff and faculty that have made this day possible. I would like to thank family and friends that have supported us graduates and that are here today. And of course, we must not forget the parents who, to get us students to this day, have sacrificed so many things. Primarily money, but also gas for all the rides they have given us. In all seriousness, thank you for helping us get to this point in our lives and for pushing us to be the best we can be. For us graduates, I'm sure our current mindset is centered around much stress and uncertainty about the future, but do not worry, because we don't have to face the future for like 1 more hour. Around 3 months ago, I got accepted into the school of my dreams. The process, however, wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It was more like Albuquerque's weather. Rainy, then sunny, then rainy again, then all of a sudden it snows and gives everyone a 2-hour delay. While it was rigorous and at times unbearing, I am super contented to say that it was all worth it in the end. In this process, I experienced self-doubt, failure on top of failure, and was told many times to be realistic. I skipped out on multiple social events, I made up quizzes that I already gotten a fair score on, and I pulled more all-nighters than I can count. Despite these obstacles, I persevered, I believed in myself, and never gave up. I also had a bunch of crying sessions, but we don't talk about that. The point is that I worked so hard to make my dreams happen, and I know each of you can as well. Whether your dreams are to become doctors, engineers, artists, stay-at-home children living in the basement, or scientists. The numerous obstacles and failures that each of us have faced in the midst of our paths towards our goals shape who we are and often determine where we will be next. As we embark upon our new lives outside of high school, we will find ourselves in those very moments of self-doubt, defeat, and fear. I'm here to tell you that you have to keep pushing forward and pick yourself up, because it will be worth it in the end. Take risks, don't be afraid to fail, enjoy life's moments, and don't forget to smell the roses. And as one of the greats once said, have a dream, sacrifice for it, and never ever rest in the middle. Kobe Bryant. Congratulations again, class of 22. Thank you.
Good afternoon, class of 2022. I would like to take a moment to thank all the family and friends who came here today to show their love and support for our graduating class. Primero que nada, quisiera agradecer a Dios por todas las bendiciones y con darle las gracias a mi mamá por ser mi gran apoyo durante mis 13 años en la escuela. Todos los sacrificios que usted tuvo que tomar por mí son las razones por las cuales puedo estar aquí arriba hoy. Sin el apoyo de usted y todas las veces que me animaste y me aseguraste que podía hacer bien en la vida, no hubiera podido llegar tan lejos. Al igual quisiera agradecer a mi papá por siempre apoyarme, aun cuando no entiende muy bien los premios que he recibido. Le agradezco por todos sus consejos de la vida y por todas las porras que me has dado. Le agradezco a mi hermanita por ser mi felicidad durante mis peores momentos. A mis padrinos, quienes siempre me quisieron como una hija, les agradezco por todos sus apoyos y siempre los voy a ver como mis padres. A mi abuelito, a todos mis tíos y tías, primos y primas, quienes me han demostrado su apoyo y amor durante lo largo de mi vida, y quienes siempre me dicen que le eche ganas. I would like to thank all my teachers who saw something special in me and pushed me to be my best both in my personal and educational life. I wouldn't have been able to make it this far without all the support from you guys. To all my friends who have stuck by my side, I definitely thank you. From the depths of my heart, all of you have provided me with so much support without even knowing it. I know the future has amazing moments in store for us. These past 4 years have gone by in a blink of an eye, and it's finally our time to be in the spotlight, to be the ones who get to walk across this stage, and we must certainly thank those who have supported our journey. But now it is time to thank ourselves for enduring this enormous journey from the pond into the grand ocean. I thank myself for not surrendering to the toughest days, for being resilient through those days I wanted to let go of the pencil and give up. I certainly thank myself for living up to my word that I would make my family proud. They have always made me proud, and I will do the same. I am proud of these two amazing ladies who sit up here with me today. We have all worked hard to earn our spot, and I am honored to be up here with both Jackie and Marissa. If there is anything I learned in these past 4 years, it is to live in the moment and enjoy every second of it while it lasts. A huge congratulations to the class of 2022. We have made it this far, and we still have a long way to go. Today we end this chapter with such amazing accomplishments. We will have to wait and see where tomorrow will take us. So for now, live it up while we are still young, wild, and free.
And last but not least, please welcome to the stage your valedictorian, Jacqueline Hernandez.
Good afternoon, faculty, friends, family, and my fellow classmates. First off, I would like to thank God for guiding me through my life. I am grateful for everything. I would also like to thank everyone today for coming out and being here for us all. To my parents, Erika and Luis, gracias por ser los mejores padres que me apoyaron durante todos los años de mi educación. Todo lo que hago es por ustedes. To both of my brothers, Güero and David, thank you for setting the bar so high, and thank you for being here today to watch me surpass it. I finally get to say I'm the smartest child. Without my family, I would not be up here today. I am so grateful for you all being my support system and for pushing me to my fullest potential. Thank you to all my teachers who helped me get here today. Not a single one of you ever made me feel like I could not accomplish my goals. To the staff, you were all so wonderful to me and helped me with the millions of questions I had. Thank you for never giving up on any of us. High school was a roller coaster. From 1 week of spring break to a full year online. We all made friendships and memories that we will cherish for the rest of our lives. For me, meeting all of you had its ups and downs. I lost friends along the way, and I found a few I knew I wanted to keep in my life forever. I was able to find many special friendships through sports. I had the honor of playing alongside some of the greatest athletes I will ever meet in my life. Soccer was my favorite sport throughout high school. Although we had a losing record this year, I was able to become the #1 goalkeeper in the state and 12th in the nation, ending my season with 254 saves and a 0.3 goals against average. I am beyond proud of myself and my teammates. It would not have been possible without the help of our coach, Coach Simone. You believed in all of us, and I know I speak for many of us when I say you helped us find our confidence on and off the field. You are the best coach I have ever had. As I stand here before you all, I would like to say that it was not easy making it up here today. I spent nights crying over assignments, calculating how to pass a class with an A, stressing out over tests I never studied for, and wondering if it was all even worth it. Well, it was. Someone very special in my life once told me how grateful I should be for making it up here today, that I deserve this. She told me that there are only 26,000 valedictorians each year in America, and I worked hard enough to be one of the 26,000. And I get to add to the statistics of female valedictorians this year, as do my fellow salutatorians. I am beyond proud of both of you. So to my best friend and high school sweetheart, Liv, thank you for sticking with me through this entire year. I know it was annoying listening to me complain about having an A- in a class, but without you, I would have never believed I deserved this position at all. I adore you. Lastly, to the class of 2022, take a moment to thank yourselves. We all made sacrifices to be here today, and we deserve to be proud of that. At the end of the day, we all put in the hard work, we did our homework, we showed up to class, and we got the grades. With that being said, never let a grade define you, because we are all much more than that. Albert Einstein once wrote the multiple tables of 9. He wrote 9 correct answers and 1 wrong. Everyone made fun of him for that one simple mistake. He then said, "Despite me answering the first 9 questions correctly, no one congratulated me. Instead, when I got one wrong, everyone started laughing. This means that despite being very successful, society will only notice the smallest mistakes and make fun of it. Don't let simple criticism destroy your dreams." What I hope you all take from this is that only people who do nothing never make mistakes. So continue working hard, make mistakes, and learn from them. I am so happy and proud to be a part of this graduating class. I cannot wait to see what we will all accomplish in our futures. After 4 long years, we did it, seniors. Thank you.
All right, here's what we've been waiting for. Board member, Mrs. Crystal Tapia Romero. The graduates before you have met the graduation requirements set forth by the Albuquerque Public Schools Board of Education, along with the New Mexico Public Education Department. To you, I present the class of 2022.
Principal Michelle Torres, on behalf of Albuquerque Public Schools Board of Education, we accept the graduating class of 2022 from West Mesa High School.
Mónica Aceves, Casey Acosta, Victor Agüero, Tamara Acala, Amaya Alcaraz, Philip Alderete, Yadelis Alderete, Luke Allen, Javier Alvarado, Lexi Alverson, Ángel Amaya, Amikia Amico, Jadapa Anderson, Ariel Archuleta, Matthew Armijo, Olivia Armour, Daniel Ariola, Adam Arsate, Daisy Astorga, Moises Avalos Aragón, Cynthia Avila, Jimena Avila, Daniel Ayala, Michaela Ayala, Deandra Baca, Elijah Baca Lovato, Nicholas Baker, Ty Barlow, Cindy Barron, Emilio Bazán, Kim Bazán Granados, Verónica Bejerano, Catherine Benali, Isaac Bencomo, Oscar Bermúdez Ibáñez.
Christopher Casaus. Escorting Christopher are our foreign exchange students, Daniel Noreno and Mara Doublefield. Adriana Boswell. Jared Briones Cartagena. Andres Brito. Sanaya Brown. Elliot Brownell. Charisma Burr. Adam Burrows. Emmanuel Caguana. Gabriel Calderon. Isaac Candelaria. Alondra Caraveo. Alejandra Caro. Oscar Carrasco. Brittany Carrasco Gonzalez. Gabriela Castillo. Lenice Castillo. Melanie Castillo Dominguez. Aliyah Chavez. Ismael Chavez Jr. Lisa Chavez. Miavan Chavez. Rodrigo Chavez. Gilbert Chavez Jr. Ajane Chelf. Vanessa Cisneros. Anissa Coronado. Ruby Cortez. Daisy Cruz. Daniel Davis. Estrella de Herrera. Emmanuel Chavez. Jose Angel Contreras.
Matthew de la Rosa, Thomas Denton, Valentina Dominguez Tagle, Aset Drain, Tim Drennan, Adrian Duran, Brian Duran, Elizabeth Easton, Karen Elizondo Ramirez, Angelia Enriquez, Tayden Isalio, Sofía Escalante Veloz, Josiah Escobedo, Mariah Esparza, Kaylee Estrada, Marco Felix, Dean Flores. Marcus Flores Cedillo. Shikaya Flowers. Julian Gallegos. Miranda Gallegos. Ruben Gallegos Williams. Geraldine Garcia. Jehovie Garcia. Kayla Garcia. Michaela Garcia. Mariah Garcia. Natalia Garcia. Osmar Garcia Castillo. Miranda Garcia Marin. Aureliano Gaitán. Elijah Giron. Christopher Godwin, Jr. Juliana Gomez.
Angel Gonzalez. Kylie Graffis. Kaylee Gray. Annette Guerrero. Damian Guerrero. Ivan Gorola Orozco. Nicole Gourlet. Alicia Gutierrez. Asia Gutierrez. Adrian Hernandez. Alexis Hernandez. Brooklyn Hernandez. Fernando Hernandez. Jacqueline Hernandez. Lisette Hernandez. Mariana Hernandez. Nestor Hernandez. Javier Hernandez Garcia. Maya Hill. Braden Huti. Jorge Iribe. Jordan Jaramillo. Alan Jimenez. Karime Jimenez. Rayshawn John. Elijah Juanico. Yuki Juarez. Santiago Khan. Andre King. Broderick Landon. Yaritza Ledesma. Dax Leeds. Jasmine Lemuz Ceballos. Isabella Leva. Josue Leva.
Jeremiah Leal. Gabriel Lind. Caleb Lira. Andrea Lopez. Heidi Lopez Alatorre. Brian Lopez Martinez. Andrea Lozoya. Carlos Lucero Lopez. Carlos Luevano. Kira Lujan. Mariah Maldonado. Anthony Mangapis. Jersey Mangrella. Alexis Manning. Julian Marquez. Xavier Marquez. Liliana Sofia Martinez. Nathan Martinez. Rocio Adriana Martinez. Bianca Mata Castro. David McDowell Jr. Mia Medina. Ashley Medrano. Soraya Mejia. Lucero Raquel Méndez. Maribel Guadalupe Michalski. Alejandro Miranda. Cassandra Miranda. Celina Montaño. Destiny Blaze Montoya. Destiny Danielle Montoya. Ronan Montoya. Patrick Mora.
Ariana Morales. Hamisi Masambia. Cheyenne Muller. Lima Munir. Natalia Munoz. Lincoln Nelson. Solomon Nichols. Frankie Nunez. Abigail Ochoa. Carolina Olivas Rangel. Alyssa Ordway. Luis Ornales. Alicia Ortega. Ashley Ortega. Alexis Owens. Alan Padilla. Jolia Padilla. Jorge Para. Perla Paulino. Aiden Perlman. Kalini Pele. Esperanza Peña. Julian Perales. Benjamin Perea. Eric Perea. Itzel Perez. Danielle Pina. Baron Plazoila. Bianca Portillo. Terrell Price. Ernesto Prieto. Lisette Quinones. Gabriel Quintana. Kimberly Quiroz. Aliyah Rael Baca.
Destiny Ramirez. Georgina Ramirez. Nicole Rausch. Jesus Rico. Shelby Riley. Nicolás Rios. Joseph Rita. Ramses Rivas. Marcos Rivera. Steve Rivera. Álvaro Robles. Monique Robles. María Jesús Rodríguez. Jennifer Rodríguez Zárate. Mario Rodulfo. Thomas Rojas Gómez. Leonel Román. Kristen Romero. Miguel Romero. Ángelo Ronquillo. Santiago Rosales. Otis Rubin. Jenna Saavedra. Juanis Saavedra. Orlando Saavedra. Sidney Salazar. Christian Salgado Orozco. Caleb Sanchez. Dennis Sanchez. Nelson Sanchez. Jacqueline Sanchez Payares. Ariana Elise Sandoval. Jacob Sandoval. Sergio Sandoval. Elijah Sargent. Paul Cedillo. Angel Segovia. Kelvin Silva. Jose Siqueiros. Destiny Cisneros. Anna Smith. Evelyn Smith. Gerald Smith. Joseph Smith. Joseph Solis. Isangeli Tapia. Aries Teller. Emmanuel Tena. Brandon Tena Solis. Rubén Terán. Cynthia Selena Terrazas Díaz.
Jonathan Tijerina. Luis Torres Sotelo. Mia Torres. Carlos Toscano. Eduardo Toscano Terrazas. Diamond Treviso. Isaiah Trujillo. Soledad Trujillo. Basti Uviado Hernandez. Kimberly Valencia Jimenez. Anthony Valentin. Tomas Valenzuela. Mireya Vargas. Mylene Vazquez Diaz. Justice Vela. Marisa Villa. Kevin Villalobos. Yaxi Villalon. Jaleel Wells. William Wheeler Bell. Sanai White. Sarah Whitehorse. Isabel Wickert. Anthony Wilkins. Christiana Williams. Marquise Williams. Savannah Williams. Matthew Woods. Dante Yazi. Ezekiel Zepeda. Joshua Zarate.
And last but not least, Justice Martinez.
Hello, my name is Jidapa Anderson, your student body vice president. Class of 2022, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. We made it! All of our hard work has led us to this moment. At this time, will you all please stand? Now, to signify our completion of high school, please move your tassel from the right to the left. Now, on three, you may throw your caps in the air. 1, 2, 3. You may retrieve your caps. Congratulations, graduates. Beatles, at this time, you may lead the graduates out to the recessional march. We did it, class of 2022!
Thank you, families and friends, for celebrating this afternoon. You may meet your graduate in the meet and greet section to the west. Congratulations, class of 2022.